Those of you who might be keeping track of the TikTok case, it has finally landed yesterday in the US Supreme Court, where the US Congress in last April passed a law saying that TikTok has to be sold to an American owner. Because every day TikTok is used by 170 million Americans, and the American state has decided, in order to protect the privacy of these 170 million citizens, they must ensure that the ownership over the company is with an American. In the lower court, TikTok has already lost. Now it has gone to the 9 wise men in the US Supreme Court to decide whether this law passed by the US House of Congress is contrary to First Amendment of the US Constitution. You know, those of you who know the US Constitution would know that the Constitution itself does not contain any fundamental rights. But when it was not ratified by the states, they came up with amendments, and the first amendment is what protects freedom of speech. So whether it is in conflict with First Amendment right will be decided by the US Supreme Court. Now, again, this is not the issue. Australia is not into banning TikTok. We have banned on security grounds in India. The real issue is, just imagine Gutenberg's printing press creates a structure of communication which is between one and many. One person writes a book, hundreds of people read it. I speak, so many people are listening because of the loudspeaker. This is what is called one-to-many communication. Social media changes the structure of communication and it makes it many-to-many communication. So many people can speak, many people can write, many people can take photographs, many people can take videos, many-to-many communication. And it removes the gatekeeping function of the editor, of the publisher, of the film director, of the principal, of anybody. So there are no gatekeeping functions. Anyone can write anything. So that looks very democratic. You have to remember that the printing press, when it was invented in 1439, led to 150 years of war in Europe. And we are seeing that because of social media there is political turmoil across the world. No government is getting voted back. There are turmoil everywhere, in Germany, in France, in England, in the United States, everywhere. Institutions are declining and individuals are growing. Now, it's a very interesting proposition. You have a newspaper as an institution that is declining, but one journalist with a podcast is getting acceptance. You might have a judiciary, but maybe one judge has acceptability, not the institution as a whole. And this trend is difficult for human society because we have functioned through institutions. All institutions are under attack and facing major disruptive forces. Now, how is this happening? In our brain we have something called dopamine, and dopamine reacts to any surprise. So social media has an addictive character. In a concrete jungle, in a structured life, every day it provides something new. And this is what is hooking on people into the social media. And does Facebook come free? No, it does not. It sells us our attention to the highest bidder. It started with Google. We started a software called AdWord, where words are auctioned. Let's say word advocate. So I may bid for the word advocate, and anyone who types in Google advocate, it will end up in my name. So I have given money to Google to make sure that anyone searching the word advocate will get my name, right? So this is the advertisement procedure. Now in the digital marketplace, today I am aggregating people. And how do I aggregate? I show you what you want to see. Not necessarily true. In fact, in when printing press started, the first book that became viral or that became a bestseller was a book which was about witchcraft. Lies are interesting. They can be refined to be made interesting. Truth are hard, nuanced, complex, difficult. Lies can be, painted, colored in such a way that it is attractive. And the second problem is that when you have, you know that what you are interested in. Suppose I know you are interested in cricket. I will show you photographs about cricket and you will get hooked on. If you like Sachin Tendulkar, I will show you Yuvraj Singh hitting sixes. So it gets decided. Social media platforms do not want to give you truth, they give you information, they want to attract you. And once they have a client, let's say 200 people, all lawyers from Odisha High Court, he will say to a buyer, I have these 200 advocates, what do you want to sell them? The buyer said, okay, I might sell them a white shirt. So every moment we are all being sold by social media companies, making billions and billions of dollars, and under the privilege of article or the cover of article section 230, they are saying we are not responsible. Right? So that being so, if these platforms do not take any responsibility, governments have to intervene, and that's what Australia has done. Because what it is doing is, children are stopping reading books, their writing habit is going, they can't speak, they cannot communicate, and they're getting hooked on to bad things. Someone may be interested in knowing what is Priyanka Chopra's age vis-a-vis her husband, and social media will go on showing that. Like for a while I was watching chimpanzees. Now anyone posting any video on chimpanzees lands on my timeline because I think this guy is interested in chimpanzee. So it is, more information does not mean more truth, does not mean more wisdom, does not mean more depth, and it is creating a new society, a new culture which is divided, which is creating a sense of tribalism where people are willing to fight against each other, abuse each other. Younger generation is becoming more abusive and less refined. So the question is, what do lawmakers do? Australia has showed the way, and I, as a student of psychology, would expect many other governments to follow, because this is the dopamine surge that it is producing. It is as good as drugs, it's as good as or as bad as alcohol and drugs. People are getting addicted. They are getting hooked on to social media. Therefore, the time has come for all of us to now think, despite all the constraints around freedom of speech and reasonableness of restrictions, time has come for us to ensure at least the more vulnerable section of our population, particularly children, are protected, and governments do take this social media and its impact far more seriously because of our past experience in what one-to-many change in structure of communication had done. I once again thank all of you. I would not take much of your time. I was given 10 minutes. I have completed 10 minutes. Thank you so much for a patient hearing, such a learned gathering. I hope you will continue to debate and discuss these issues in the future. Thank you so much.